Welcome, everyone. I'm
Hey
Candace
everyone.
Mae.
Hey everyone, this is Mary Denise. How are y'all?
We're super excited you're here with us tonight to unshackle your voice, to be seen and heard with confidence. Yeah? Wonderful.
I'm trying to share this so that it goes to my page so that people can watch what I'm doing as well. So I'm trying to get this set up. So give me 1 second. I'm hoping it doesn't reverb like it did the last time.
So tonight we're going to talk about values, what they mean, what they are, why they're important. And then we're going to challenge you to ask, what are your values and are they showing up in your daily life? That's important.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. Just trying to get some my portion of this to go onto my page as well, so that the people that follow me can also benefit from this amazing discussion that we're going to be having tonight. So I'm hoping that everyone is doing good. Please make sure that you give StreamYard permission for us to see your comments. That way we can utilize them and we can also respond to you if we see your comments.
Yeah, great. I do see us live on your page and my page.
Okay.
Do you see them on your page?
Yep. I have to turn my phones off because otherwise it'll reverberate in the background. So
okay.
Well, we promise we will work on a better system so that you don't have to go through that delay each and every time. So tonight we're going to talk about values.
Yep.
Candace, what are they? Why are they important?
Well, values are important. What they do is they help us show what our positive character is. I'm playing with these banners over here. There we go. Values give us positive character, the mental and moral qualities that are distinct to each individual. Really, what that means is, you're either going to be a poor character or a positive character. It's going to define you. It's how you live your life. Is it in good ways or is it in cruel or criminal ways, right?
And how do you think values are impacting the way that things are going right now?
I didn't quite hear the beginning of what you said.
How do you think values, what role are values playing given today's climate with all the rioting, the protesting, the coronavirus, and all the things that go along with that, where the African American community is at a disadvantage? What role does values play in that?
Well, I think that displays values huge, but it also displays something more than just values, and let's get into that for a minute. Quite interesting question. Values, that's huge. I mean, you either value people and their lives or you don't. And when we see someone deliberately killing or abusing someone, that means they don't value another person's life very much, right? It's quite clear. If they did, their behavior wouldn't show that cruelty, that unjust reactions and manipulation. But what we find, what has been a quite interesting conversation, and I've engaged with several friends of mine who are Black, and as well as those who are white and Jewish and so forth, and we've had some deep conversations around this topic. And I think there's been a big misunderstanding in the beginning when people would hear Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Well, what do you mean Black Lives Matter? Every life matters, right? Did we talk about this last week? It's worth repeating. If you have a broken ankle and you go to the doctor with a broken ankle and the doctor looks at you and says, hey, all your bones are broken. They all matter. I mean, all your bones matter. I know your ankle's broken, but all your bones matter. And they do nothing about the broken ankle, then they're not really serving you or helping you. Mm-hmm. Your ankle is what needs the attention right now. Sure, all your bones matter, but at this time, it's the ones that are excruciating in pain that need the most help.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had similar conversations with different people. And one of the things that I let them know that at the end of the day, while yes, every life is precious, every life is valuable, everyone matters, right? Everyone matters in this life. The problem is, it is the Black race that is in danger. this is the race that is dying more frequently. The coronavirus, police brutality, just even at your own hands, things of that nature. It's all tied together. And the values piece of it, for me, it's somebody asked me the other day, how can I report something without losing my job? It's all about your values. What's important to you? What is the strength of your character? Character and values, they go hand in hand. What is important to you? For me, integrity is my top value. It's my top value, is having that integrity and being able to do and say what I mean at all times. And when people just stand there and watch it happen, and I'm guilty of that. I'm not, I am guilty of just standing back and watching something happen. And, it's like watching a train wreck. It's gonna jump the rail and it's gonna crash, and you're just sitting there watching it. And a lot of times it's because it's disbelief, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And so you don't do anything. But when you don't do anything for a long period of time, that's where your character falls short.
That's true. I think it's important not only to have character and values, but it's to prioritize those values. So, for instance, that person asked you, how can I report something without losing my job? So they value their job and they value the life of another person and how that person's being treated. But which one has the higher value, right? That's the question. So when you haven't stopped to think of what are your primary values and what is the order in which they rank, that alone can cause you problems, like in that situation that you just described. If her values were higher on the life of individuals and how they're treated, she would have no question. She would know immediately, I'm going to report this and get this taken care of to protect the life of this other person. My job is a value to me and important, but I couldn't live with myself knowing that this injustice was going on. But if they value their job more than they do the value of other people, that's going to be the one that comes up to the highest point. However, there's also the possibility that when people are confused, they do nothing. They just freeze, right? So it's important to remember that as well, I think.
No, I agree with you. Ooh, I don't know why.
I'm popping over to the Facebook pages to see if I'm supposed to be looking there for comments.
Well, I'm not sure the comments should be popping up on the right-hand side. I don't have access to them, but if you click on the comments part, they'll be right there on the right-hand side. It's interesting that we chose to talk about values. Now, for our viewers out there, we planned this about 3 months ago, and we started developing, our topics and what we're going to discuss, how are we going to go about it. And these were the things that were on the agenda for us for such a time as this. And I've been teaching myself on values, but I'm looking at that from the priorities. How do you set your priorities? And, some of the common life priorities are faith, family, finances, friends, extended family, and work, and, all kinds of other things. But where do you prioritize that? And if anybody hears a child screaming, it's because my 2-year-old grandson is having a conniption because he can't get in here to say hi to any of you.
Aw, Grandma.
I'm Nana. Nana, no Grandma.
Oh, Nana. Sorry, Nana. They call me Gigi, so hey.
Okay. And so, I just think that those values, and I know that you and I had talked about a list of values. What were some of the values that you have listed? Oh, there you go. I see it on the banner. Thank you.
Yep, I just listed a few examples. Like, some people value money or wealth. Some people value legacy and leaving something behind that they'll be remembered by. Some people pick faith and religion, and we separate those out because some people are focused on faith and others are into ritualistic behaviors that is more of a religion. Courage can be a value. Integrity, customer service, quality, structure, really anything can be. Some people value drugs, right? Or alcohol, and they put that above anything else. And so this is why it's important to decide, what is it that you value? Because if you tell me that you value family, but you're a workaholic and working constantly and you're never with your family, then I would question, how much do you value family? Is it really the value of family, or is it the value of money?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know some people would say, but I'm working to provide for my family. You are, but your family needs you in person. And I bet if you ask them if they would rather have an extra $100 or your time, they would say your time.
Yeah. One of the other values that's important to me is authenticity. I think that authenticity is very important, because if you're not going to be authentic, then how can you be real? How can you be transparent? How can you be open-minded? And so I would challenge our viewers to identify what their top 5 values are. And if you are watching this now, or even as a replay, put in the comments, what are your top 5 values? And out of those top 5 values, which one is the one that is hands down, it cannot be violated under any circumstances?
You know, they say that when you're dating or you're single and you're getting ready to look for a partner, it's best to make a list of what you value in a partner, right? Mm-hmm. And have maybe 3 columns. I value all of these qualities, and these are a must. They must have these qualities. And then these are absolute deal breakers if they have any of the thing on this item, right? If they're alcoholic, if they're drugs, deal breaker, right? From the beginning. As soon as I find out, we're done. And then the other section is, nice to haves. Like, I'd love for them to play music, but I can live with someone if they don't play music, right? But it's a nice to have. But integrity and authenticity is 100%. They have to be real, or they have to have growth as their priority, or it's not going to work. So, and then living that out. If you go on a date or you're talking with somebody and something comes up on that deal breaker list, hey, that's your responsibility to be authentic and true to yourself, and say, I can't see you anymore, right? Because that's a deal breaker.
Absolutely. And one of the things when I first started really delving deeper into personal growth, I had a mentor that kept asking me, what did I value? Let me see your checkbook. Let me see your calendar.
That's right.
And I've never forgotten that. And as time has gone by, I've noticed that the way I track my time and keep my time and the way I spend my money is vastly different than what it was years ago. So, the priorities have changed.
That's
and I'm more cognizant of what I have, available to me, and where do I want to spend my time. For me, my family is everything. I will drop everything for family and a few very, very special close friends. I will drop everything in a heartbeat to beat the door down to get to them and do whatever needed to be done.
I agree with that, but I will have to say that I do have a little bit of boundaries. I wouldn't drop everything. I depending on the circumstances and what's going on. And if I have a family member who has problems with drug or alcohol, hi Maria, nice to see you. It would be a problem for me to, depending on what the circumstances was, to drop everything to rescue them. Now, if it's another situation that they need help, and yes, I would. But I think there are qualifications to that statement, for me anyway. So Maria says her values are faith, integrity, inner peace, family, and adaptability. Great.
That's nice. That is nice. I like that she wrote peace, inner peace. That is a good one. I have not thought of that one myself. I'm going to have to add that to my list of values, because inner peace is important.
Well, inner peace is great. And I think for me, with my being a woman of faith, I get inner peace. I get peace beyond understanding when I'm focusing on my faith in Christ. But that's a great point, because not everybody who has faith may have inner peace. Exactly. It's all depending on the level of your faith and how you're focusing or spending your time, right?
Yes. That awareness level. If you could wave a magic wand, what value would you sprinkle on our country right now?
What value would I sprinkle? Well, love is the highest, isn't it? So if you have love, then you really value other people. You value yourself. Some people don't value themselves. themselves, and what their behavior is then an outgrowth of how they treat themselves. You know, a lot of people project. They're angry, and they're angry at themselves, or they're angry and they take it out on other people. And it's maybe not they're really angry at that other person. They're just angry.
Yeah.
I know I've witnessed firsthand how biased behavior gets passed down from generation to generation, and it is so sad. There was an instance where I met a distant relative, and their son was maybe 12, had never met a Black person in their life ever. And they were spouting out the most crude comments. I just couldn't handle it. This was 35 years ago. And I said, listen, you've never even met a Black person in your life. Who gave you this words? Where did you how can you even speak about this? You don't even know what you're saying. And it just made my blood boil. But I never forgot it. And I never forgot how blatant it was, So those first 6 years of our life are the foundation of everything we believe. No matter what we're told, we just take it as truth, and we don't know any different. And so maybe around 7, we get a conscious that comes in and is the gatekeeper to that belief system we have. But we're stuck with those beliefs in our unconscious that really direct our lives. They limit what choices we see until we become old enough to be able to identify what those beliefs are. And I think that's why those teenage years are so important. Teenagers, if you notice, they really go through a rebellion process, and they're trying to figure out who they are and what they believe in, because that's the time they should be, checking out everything that they're believing or thinking. When I was in college and I took a logic class, they say, oh, you're basing your argument on what? And there's always these underlying assumptions that you have that you don't even question. You just think that they're normal, so you move on with it. And you have to, those underlying assumptions are those hidden beliefs that really need to be pulled out and examined and said, hey, this isn't right. This is not really true, because only then can you really break those chains that bind you in that past historical false beliefs that your family taught you as truth, right?
I agree. I absolutely agree. Let's see.
It's really powerful when we can realize how limited our options come when we're stuck with those assumptions that we're not seeing. History repeats itself over and over again. So you look at family lines in history and you see all that behavior that's repeated, and you wonder why it's repeated. And it's because of those hidden belief systems that are down inside. And it really takes another person to bring them to light. Yeah.
Well, I think that we're going to start seeing a shift. More and more people are starting to get a little bit more aware. And as the teenagers say, they're getting woke. They're getting woke to how their values impact other people, how other people see them. And I think that we're going to see a massive change in a lot of things. And I only hope that I am able to live to see it all happen. I want to see it all happen. Like, I never imagined in a million years that I would have been alive during this particular period in time where there was a pandemic followed by, massive rioting because people are fed up. I never thought I would see that, but people are fed up. And that's when the change is going to come in, because they're starting to stand up and say, no, that's not okay. That is not right. And so they're turning inward to their own values now and letting those come forward. And people get shamed, value shamed.
Value shame for what?
Well, value shamed for not doing something. So, like, for example, if you don't have the courage to do something, because you see something happening like, yeah, I don't know, bad. No, I can't even give you this example because it would be a bad example and would get roasted. But if they see something really bad happening and they're just standing there, yes, they might be in shock, but the other part of them knows that they need to move to do something and they don't. And then the person ends up dying. Then they start to shame themselves, but then other people are shaming them as well, going, well, you should have done something. You were there. You knew this was happening. You should have done it. And I got to give you this example. So earlier today, I was watching Hoarders. I normally don't watch the show, but in Alaska, where I moved from, and I live here in Arizona now, there was a house on a particular road that every time we drove past it, it was an eyesore. Like, it was the worst eyesore in the world. Well, it made the show. Like, it made the show. And through the whole thing, people were saying to this gentleman, well, why would you let it get like this? Why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you do that? And the first thing I thought of was, they're shaming him. They're shaming him on television. Other people knew that this was happening, but they didn't do anything to help him stop it. Like, they didn't do anything, or they didn't try hard enough potentially, to help get him out of the situation.
That's an interesting point. When I was a kid, if you misbehaved, it was okay for your neighbor or your cousin, an aunt, any relative, any adult could say, hey, knock that off. Quit that behavior. That's inappropriate. And then we went through a period where, like, don't talk to my kid like that. Who do you think you are? Like, don't even. And so people began to step back because they didn't want to be attacked for what they thought was doing the right thing of, accountability. And then we got to that far extreme of leave no kid behind. You used to get an award because you did really good at a sport or you did really good at math. And now all of a sudden you can't give that kid those great, that trophy. My kid didn't get one. Well, then what? Let's give every kid a trophy for participating and being on the team. Okay, so that means the one who does really well versus one who doesn't do really well, they both get the same acknowledgement. Well, where's the motivation in that? Where's the motivations to strive better or to do the best you can? Mm-hmm. So what were the values there? And how did that become mainstream, right? Mm-hmm. Well, whoever has the biggest voice gets heard, right? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Mm-hmm. But that squeaky wheel isn't always necessarily what needs to get the most attention.
Exactly.
And so again, that comes back down to values, doesn't it? What do we value? Just value what's politically correct, what is the loudest voice, or we value things that are truly of meaning. Now, in Black Lives Matters, I think that point is, we've already covered it. Black lives do matter, and they're the ones being attacked right now and singled out into an extreme. And it's not a new thing. It's been a long time coming, but nobody realized it. Mm-hmm. Well, somebody realized it, but there were many people who did not realize what was happening to the extent that it was happening.
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to do as we round out our show is I have fallen in love with a page in one of my favorite books called Today's Matters. And it really succinctly puts all the values into one phrase as to what we should do. Not one phrase, it's multiple sentences. However, it's the same concept because all the values are listed. And I would actually like to read that to our viewers.
Sure.
It's called Just for Today. And I will tell you that when I am having those moments where I'm getting frustrated, I have to just remember, and I take a deep breath and I say, just for today, I'm going to get through this. So here's what I'm going to give you. Just for today, I will choose and display the right attitudes. Just for today, I will determine and act on important priorities. Just for today, I will know and follow healthy guidelines. Just for today, I will communicate with and care for my family. Just for today, I will practice and develop good thinking. Just for today, I will make and keep proper commitments. Just for today, I will earn and properly manage finances. Just for today, I will deepen and live out my faith. Just for today, I will initiate and invest in solid relationships. Just for today, I will plan for and model generosity. Just for today, I will embrace and practice good values. Just for today, I will seek and experience improvements. Just for today, I will act on these decisions and practice these disciplines. And then one day, I will see the compounding results of a day lived well.
That's nice. Now that's John Maxwell's Daily Dozen. Those are his 12 values that he picked up and wants to practice every day.
Yep.
So they're great values. They're solid values, and everybody could live by those values and do well. But we each need to pick what are our most significant ones that we want to base our life on. You can still use those 12 for every day, but I think it's important that we know what we stand for and represent as individuals. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, do you have anything left?
Well, no, I think that's the highlights of everything we wanted to talk about. We mentioned the comment about the calendar and the pocketbook and how important those were. People don't think about it, but where you spend your money is what you value. I know when I did my taxes, my accountant was like, seriously? Look at how much money you spend on personal growth in your business. And I go, yeah, well, to me, personal growth is everything. It develops the individual, it develops the businesses. And so I do spend a lot of money there.
Yeah.
In the tools.
So we'd like to ask our viewers to take some time this week to identify what really matters most to you. What do you value most? And then prioritize the values. That way you can decide when you have a decision that involves 2 or more of your values, you know what you need to do. I think that would be a really good lesson in starting your journey to changing your life, transforming your life from what it is right now into something that you want it to be. Because at the end of the day, I know for me, one of the things that I said I would never do again is I would never live by someone else's rule book. I will create my own rule book and determine where I will spend my time, how I will spend my time, how I will spend my money, and all that other stuff. And so I encourage all of you to do this, and we will be back next Wednesday. And it'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And I believe we might talk about beliefs. I'm feeling a lesson on beliefs.
That's awesome. Wonderful. I may or may not be here next Wednesday. I believe I'll be unavailable. But Mary's going to take care of you next week, and I'll look forward to seeing you the following week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much for participating and watching, and for watching the replay. Please spread the word. We are really wanting to make a difference because we really are your guides to helping you unshackle that voice so you can be seen and be heard.
Yay. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Until next week. Bye-bye.